The offer came on a Thursday. Not a dramatic Thursday. Not the kind with weather or ceremony. Just a regular Thursday in March. The kind where the coffee gets cold before you finish it, and the afternoon light comes through the office blinds in flat gray strips. Your phone buzzed on the desk, and the number on the screen was your director's extension, and something in your chest already knew before you answered. Senior VP, Chicago. Base salary that would have taken you 6 more years to reach on the current trajectory. The kind of offer that only comes once, and everyone in your industry knows it. You said you needed the weekend to think about it. You didn't need the weekend. You knew in the first 4 seconds. But Sarah was home, and dinner was already made, and there was a version of you that still believed you could want 2 things equally and have both of them. Sarah knew before you told her. That was the thing about 11 years together. The information traveled between you without words. She was at the kitchen counter when you walked in, and she looked at you once and went quiet in that specific way. That wasn't anger, not yet, just the recognition of something arriving that she had always known was coming. You told her over dinner. Chicago. The title, the number. You said it the way people say things when they're hoping the details will do the convincing for them. She listened. She didn't interrupt. When you finished, she asked one question. Is this what you want, or is this what you've been working toward? You didn't understand the difference then. That's the honest answer. You sat across the table from the woman and knew you better than anyone alive, and you genuinely did not understand what she was asking. You said they were the same thing. She nodded slowly and looked at her plate, and something passed between you in that silence that you wouldn't be able to name for almost a decade. The marriage lasted 14 more months after Chicago. Not dramatically. It didn't end in a fight or a revelation. It ended the way most real things end. Gradually, then completely. Phone calls that got shorter. Visits that felt like performances of a relationship that had already made its decision. A Saturday afternoon in October, when she said she thought you both knew. And you did, and the only thing left was to say it out loud. You signed the papers on a Wednesday. You had a board presentation on Thursday. You prepared for the presentation on Wednesday night because that was the kind of person you were, and the kind of person you had chosen to keep becoming. Chicago was everything the offer promised. The title was real. The work was serious and demanding, and exactly the kind that fills a calendar so completely that the days stop having edges. You were good at it. You kept getting better. By year 3, you had a team of 19 people, and a reputation that opened rooms before you walked into them. You told yourself you were building something. You were, just not the thing you thought. What you were building, quietly and without noticing, was a life with no one in it who knew you before the title. No one who remembered the apartment you shared on Clement Street with the radiator that only worked on alternate Thursdays. No one who knew the version of you that existed before you got good at performing the version you'd become. The colleagues were real. The friendships were genuine in the way work friendships are genuine, within the frame, warm and present, but always slightly aware of the frame. Nobody called on a random Wednesday just to check in. Nobody knew how you took your coffee without asking. You didn't notice how much that cost until the Thursday your mother called to tell you your father was in the hospital. Routine procedure, everything fine. But you sat in your car in the parking garage for 22 minutes afterward and realized you had no one to call. Not because people didn't exist in your life, because no one in your life existed outside the version of you that was always performing something. Sarah remarried at 41. You found out the way you find out things now. A photo, a name you didn't recognize, a Tuesday afternoon of rearranging something in your chest that you couldn't quite locate. You weren't jealous. That's the important thing to say clearly. What you felt wasn't jealousy. It was something quieter and more specific. The recognition that she had continued, that the life you had both been building had kept going in her direction without you. That, somewhere in Ohio, there was a kitchen table where someone knew her coffee order and her Tuesday moods, and the specific sound she made when something was bothering her that she wasn't ready to talk about yet. You had the title. You had the career. You had built exactly what you set out to build. And sitting in your Chicago apartment on a Tuesday afternoon with a view of the lake that cost you more per month than your parents' first mortgage, you understood for the first time what Sarah's question had actually meant. Is this what you want, Or is this what you've been working toward? The difference is the destination. Working toward something means the meaning lives in the future, in the arrival, in the having of the thing. What you want is different. What you want is something whose value exists in the having of it, right now, today, in the ordinary Tuesday of it. You had spent 11 years working toward something. You had arrived, and the arrival was real, and the work was real, and the title was real. But you had confused the map for the place. You had optimized your entire life for a destination and forgotten to ask whether the destination was worth the route. You're 47 now, still in Chicago. Different role, calmer pace, the kind of work that doesn't require you to perform urgency anymore. You have a dog named after a street in your old neighborhood. You have a therapist you've been seeing for 3 years who asks good questions you're still working on answering. You're not unhappy, that's the honest word for it, but some Tuesday afternoons you think about a kitchen table in Ohio, and a question you didn't understand when it mattered, and a version of your life that existed in the silence between what she asked and what you answered. You can't go back to that Thursday in March. Nobody can go back to their Thursday. What you can do is understand it. Finally, completely. 10 years too late, and right on time. You chose the job. You'd probably choose it again. Not because it was right, but because it was you. The you that existed then. The only you that could have been in that kitchen on that Thursday in March. The question Sarah asked wasn't about Chicago. It was about who you were building yourself into. You know the answer now. You just wish you'd known it at dinner.